everybody, and welcome into this special edition of Rink Report here on this July 1st. I am Katie Florio, joined alongside John Walton and Tarik El-Bashir, the best in the business. We're looking to have some fun today.
What's better thing to be doing on Canada Day than here inside where it's cool in the nation's capital? Katie, we're looking forward to this. It's going to be fun.
A lot to get into. Suddenly, the offseason feels like it's not the offseason anymore. Development camp has started for the Washington Capitals, and it is the official first day of free agency, refreshing our computers left and right because there's a lot of news to get into today. And one of the big ones, as expected so far, not officially announced, already involves the Washington Capitals, and that is that it is expected that Martin Fehervary has signed a 7-year contract extension with the Capitals. That'll help this blue line for a long time to come.
Yeah, I think it's a really good deal. Marty has proven himself to be a legit top 4 defenseman in this league. Maybe even a top 3 on a team that was a little less deep on the back end. He can skate, he can hit. He has gotten much better at reading plays in his own zone and closing them off. He's really good at transporting the puck. Look, he's 25 years old, and he's only going to get better. So really like this deal for the Caps.
A lot of talk this week when you get everybody under this roof in July about development camp and guys for the future. And I don't know that there's a better example in the last 5, 6, 7 years of drafting a guy, developing a guy, and getting him to the point where he is a legit top 4 D-man for a long time to come. T, you saw what happened when he went out at the end of the regular season. He gets hurt in the Islander game, and the Capitals D-corps was in large part using a lot of duct tape and chicken wire to try and hold it together because of all of the different roles that he did night in and night out, and is durable. That was the thing that was so crazy about him getting hurt, Katie, was that he has been so durable for the last few years. To have him be out and not be a part of the playoffs, like, well, wait a minute, of course he's going to be okay, but he wasn't. And he means a lot here. I'm really glad that he's going to be in the fold for a long time. Great development, great player. Glad he's going to be here for a long time.
They really missed him on the penalty kill. The penalty kill was top 5 all year long, and then he goes out, and all of a sudden, Montreal scoring almost at will on the PK. That's how big of a difference he made on that unit.
Well, we saw covering this team every single day the impact that he had, and I think there were several times Spencer Carberry said he is an underrated defenseman in this league. He's a guy that other teams, other media covering other teams maybe doesn't hear his name as much, and as awful as the injury was for Marty himself and this team in the playoffs, you almost got to think maybe that helped him a little bit in this contract because it shows the impact he had.
It highlighted it, it underscored it, used whatever words you want.
You should keep me here, and you should pay me accordingly.
And we're talking about his, the job he does transporting the puck, the physicality. He's also a bit of a, he's got some abrasiveness to him. His game kind of lends itself to the playoffs. And, if you look at the teams that went really far and the Florida Panthers who won it, they had a lot of guys who were pests. I'm not saying Martin Fehervary is a pest, but Sidney Crosby doesn't like him very much.
No.
There are a lot of guys in the league that don't like going up against number 42. Because
that's why he got paid.
Absolutely. He gets under your skin. He's just in your face. Like I said, he closes really well, takes away your time and space. He frustrates really good forwards. And it's really great that he's going to be around for the long haul with the Caps.
We are certainly happy to have Marty here. Should be looking to make a huge impact down the stretch as he continues a long, prosperous career with the Washington Capitals. But this week is all about development camp. It's about the young ones, the prospect, the guys that are coming up looking to make an impact. I know we'll get to my conversation with Andrew Cristall shortly, a name that these Capitals fans are definitely familiar with. But
what happened to his tooth?
I don't know. It's middle
he showed
of the
up
summer,
with no tooth.
And he's already coming in looking like a true hockey player. But no, several other guys as well. Obviously, Ilya Protas following in the footsteps of his older brother, Alexei Protas, Tarik Parasak. So many guys this week that their skills are going to be on showcase for everyone to see. What are you guys looking most forward to, or who are you looking to maybe stand out this week?
I think when you look at who is here, this is the only opportunity through the course of the year where the guys who are college picks can be here. You've got the guys who have been picked already. You have the guys who were just picked in L.A. And it is the one time that you've got just about all the hockey operations here under one roof to be able not just to see them on ice, but there's really as much importance to off ice. Being able to get to know these guys a little bit better. Let them get to know each other a little bit better.
Absolutely.
And for a guy like Ilya Protas, we saw him through the course of the year. He came to visit Alexei in the middle of the regular season and came to watch a game or two when he was off. What he's developed into through the course of the last 12 months since we were last here under this roof with him, my goodness, what a player he might be for this team.
50-goal scorer at the OHL level. Look, the OHL isn't the NHL, obviously. But if you can score 50 goals,
124 points.
124 points in that league at that size, you're going to play. You're going to be an NHL player. The question is, what is your ceiling? How good can you be? And when are you going to get here? And when you talk about Ilya and you look at the trajectory that Alexei followed, he has the same work ethic. You know, there are guys that go back home to Belarus and they work on their skating, they work on their shot. And, you know, he's got a great example in his older brother. I think Ilya's going to be here sooner rather than later. And I just have to make sure I get the two brothers straight in my head because I called Alexei Ilya like at least twice last year.
Welcome to the world of play-by-play, my friend.
The second or third time, I don't think Alexei was all that thrilled. The laughing was over. He kind of was like, really, Tarik?
He has said, though, he has confidently said, and we've seen the player that Alexei developed into this year, that Ilya is better than him. That's what Big Bro says.
I mean, look, any older brother is going to say that about their younger brother, but as a guy who watched both of them, here's what I can say definitively. Ilya is further along at his age than Alexei was, which is scary to think about.
I hope that means that by the time that we get to this year, next year, whenever we may see him.
Yeah.
I mean, the brothers Protas on this team, they have any other family, friends, cousins, anybody in Belarus who we can talk to? Because, my goodness, what we hope to see by the time we get to training camp. And as much as I'm excited to see everybody under roof, I'm really excited when we get to main camp.
Yeah.
Because who gets a game? And Andrew Cristall's a great example, right? He was going to get a game last year. He ended up with 4. He played in the last one.
Yeah.
And really left you when he went back to the Western League and saying, all right, well, let's keep an eye on this and see what happens. We may have that situation with a number of guys coming out of this camp, going into main camp, and then getting ready for the regular season.
Well, Cristall is certainly a prime example of that, and I already had the chance to catch up with him this morning, saw that missing tooth and everything. So let's now take a look at my conversation with Andrew Cristall. Well, Andrew, welcome back into D.C., and thanks for joining us today. It is the middle of the summer, and you just walked up here with a missing tooth already, full hockey fashion all the way through.
Yeah.
But what's been going on with you this summer?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Obviously missing a tooth, so that's a little bit different this time around. But yeah, just been back home after the season and after going to Hershey for a little bit, and yeah, just resting and getting ready for camp.
Well, you certainly had an incredible season in the WHL. Lots of talk, 132 points, led the league in scoring. What led to really the consistency and the confidence that you were able to have this season?
Yeah, I think for me, it kind of just started with training camp here, and you know, I thought I kind of took some steps and you know, grew a lot with my game, and just kind of going back to the Western League, I thought, you know, I was pretty confident in that league and kind of knowing what to do, and I got put in a pretty fortunate spot in Spokane after the trade deadline, and you know, I've been playing with some, you know, really good players, really special players, and we had a great team, so that's definitely helped me a lot too.
Well, the first official day of development camp here, you've been through this before, but what are your expectations for this week?
Yeah, I think the same as the past two I've been at, just kind of be a sponge and learn. I think, you know, there's so many, you know, great staff and people who work for the team here that, you know, want to help you out and just kind of ask questions and, you know, have fun too.
You mentioned you've obviously been to the past 2 years as well. So how does maybe your role kind of change? Still focused on your success and your growth and development, but maybe taking in some of those draftees, some of those younger guys under your wing in a position that you were in 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's huge. I think that's a big thing, you know, about the whole organization of the Caps. I think everyone, you know, has to be a good person first and a good teammate. So, you know, being maybe a little bit of an older guy here, just kind of talking to, you know, all the young guys, all the players who got drafted, not drafted, who, you know, our first time here, and as well as kind of maintain some relationships that I had before. So I think that's a big part of this year for me, is kind of just, you know, getting to know everybody and, you know, making them, you know, feel welcome.
Talking about the relationships after juniors, you were sent to Hershey as a Black Ace. I know your time there was short, but what did you benefit from just being in the locker room, being around those guys, and kind of absorbing that information on a daily basis?
Yeah, lots. I think going there, it's just kind of shows you what the next level is like, what pro hockey's like, and I was there last year for a little bit of the playoffs as well, and just seeing them put in the work and what they're able to do is pretty special, going back to back, and just a really special group, and they're all super nice, super welcoming to me and all the other prospects who went, so it was a lot of fun.
Well, you'll get to see some of those Hershey coaches this week. Head coach Spencer Carberry around as well. What's your relationship like with him and the Capitals coaching staff? Yeah,
it's really good. I thought last camp he and all the rest of the staff were super communicative to me, and let me know where I was at and how I was playing, what I need to do better, what they like to see, and first and foremost, they're really great people, and they're obviously pretty remarkable coaches as well. So it's really fun to learn from them and try and get some insight because they got a lot of information.
You mentioned that training camp you had. It was the talk of this organization. It was obviously exceptional. So as you come into the rest of this year, training camp in a few months, what's maybe your mindset to prove that you can make this Washington Capitals team?
Yeah, I think last year was a good step for me, and just kind of getting integrated a little bit, and I think I have a lot more to give and a lot more to prove as well, and I think if I have an even better camp, it'll give me a good chance to make the team, and if not, I'll try and go play in Hershey and make an impact there. But obviously for me the goal is to make Washington have a good training camp.
Well, it should be a great, fun week here. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll definitely see more of you later this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate Andrew Cristall's time earlier today. Probably the first of many media outings for him this week. Once again, just a stellar junior season he had, and looking to bring that into training camp, this camp, and everything as he looks to make this Capitals roster. But other draftees to get to, we just had a big 2025 NHL draft in Los Angeles. Obviously a little different format this year, but that doesn't take away from the 5 guys that were drafted by the Capitals. I know you two have been covering that all weekend. So what kind of sticks out to you about this year's draft class for the Caps?
Yeah.
Well, you want me to start?
Well, I would say what's just crazy to me is how worldly the game's become,
Sure.
right? Because you've got 2 Swedes,
Sure.
German,
Sure.
Canadian, American, all at 5 picks. And I mean, that's, the worldwide scouting network that you need under Ross Mahoney, who we'll have here in just a couple of minutes. It just is amazing to me, the worldwide depth of the prospect pool in our game.
Yeah, that's always been amazing to me, especially here lately, the last couple of decades, seeing this game grow so globally. What really stood out to me was, of the 5 picks, 4 were forwards, and these are scoring guys. It just underscores how important and how hard it is to score goals, and teams are always looking to add forwards who can put the puck in the net. You can develop a guy into becoming your third line center or your shutdown center, but you're always drafting to find guys who can score and score easily. Look, the Caps did really good last year offensively, right? They were second in the league behind Tampa Bay, I believe. But you know what? You always want to score more. I mean, you look at free agency, they're in the hunt for scoring forward.
And there's not a lot to be had. You got to develop it. That's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Well, one of those guys was Capitals' first-round pick, Lyndon Lakovic, and he caught up with Monumental Sports Network's Al Koken at the draft in L.A.
Lyndon Lakovic, the newest member of the Washington Capitals organization. First of all, congratulations and welcome to the organization.
Thank you. I mean, it's such a huge honor. I couldn't, ask for a better team to go to. Washington, they're a winning culture, and I'm so pumped to get down there.
What do you know about the Capitals from afar?
From afar, I know they have a winning history and a winning culture, and that's kind of, I'm excited to get down there and, add on to that. I mean, they know how to develop players and win hockey games, and at the end of the day, that's the plan, right? To win hockey games and eventually win a Stanley Cup. So that's kind of what I know.
You had mentioned earlier, too, a couple of other Western Hockey League players, Tarik El-Bashir and, of course, Andrew Cristall. Yeah. Some guys who've done very well out there, too. Those are going to be maybe some of the guys you may reach out to and lean on for a little information?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm definitely going to reach out and see what I can take in, and I'm going to take in as much information as I can. Only the more the better, and I'm looking forward to getting down there and meeting everyone, and it's going to be awesome.
We're wearing the captaincy with Moose Jaw. What did you learn this year? What helped you kind of elevate your game to make you a first-round pick?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes with confidence, just being older in the league. But like you said, I took on a leadership role, and I played for a lot of good leaders in the past, and they've really helped me. Just being the example day to day, and you got to have pro habits, and if you stay consistent with that over time, it's going to lead to success. And that's what I thought I did, and I'm here now.
Give everybody a little scouting report. How would you scout yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm big body. Plays a dual threat scoring game. I think I can set up guys and I can score goals, and I play with a lot of pace and a lot of hockey IQ. I think I kind of have that X factor. I believe that I can take over a game, and at development camp, I'm looking forward to adding on to my 200-foot game and seeing what I can do.
When you were drafted and you were on stage, you were talking to Chris Patrick and Ross Mahoney and Spencer Carberry. They said they were sweating it out. Were you kind of sweating it out where you were going to get picked?
Yeah, I was definitely sweating out. Definitely, towards the end, my stomach was getting a little weak, but it's just so much relief, and I couldn't be more happy.
Well, the Caps are happy to have you, Lyndon. Congratulations. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Taking a look at the 5 players selected in Los Angeles. Lyndon Lakovic, who we're going to be talking about right off the top with Ross Mahoney here momentarily. But you got a couple of Swedes, one German-born, one American, all into the fold as part of the 2025 NHL entry draft for the Capitals. And here on this special edition of Rink Report, very happy to have with us Assistant General Manager and Draft Architect. 28 of these now in the books for you?
28, yes.
My goodness.
Wow.
Ross Mahoney joining us here. Just the longevity of being able to do that with this team for so long. That's just an incredible run. Let me ask you, I guess, first about Lyndon Lakovic here, who we just heard here a moment ago. Big guy, Western League guy, toughness, skating ability. What did you like when you had the opportunity to select him at 27?
Yeah, we really liked the size for sure. He's 6'4". I think he's about 200 pounds. Could skate, good shot, but I think even a better playmaker. So he's got a really good vision, and he works. He's, competes, tries to get to the net to be able to score goals. So it's kind of a nice combination, like I said, of the sense and the skill and the size.
Yeah, Ross, the guy I'm really interested to take a look at is Milton Gastrin. He was on a lot of boards going to go in the first round, and he fell to you guys in the second. What do you like about his game?
Well, first we like that he fell to us in the second round. I like that very much, but no, he's a really good all-around center. I think he plays a really good 200-foot game. The type of guy that coaches will love because he's responsible, not just with the puck, but away from the puck, responsible in his own end, wins face-offs, really unselfish. I think probably has more skill than people think. He's not that type of player that's going to go out there and toe drag somebody and then go in and undress the goalie. But he seemed to always end up in the top 2 or 3 in scoring in every tournament that we went to. And always captain of his team. So he's a high character guy.
Yeah. I know a lot of people aren't necessarily thinking hockey first and foremost in the first week of July, but this is such an important week to be able to have that one opportunity to have all the guys under one roof, all of your guys that you work alongside, to be able to talk and see them on the ice and get to know them a little bit better. What are some of the things you hope to accomplish this week here at development camp as you get all these guys under roof here in Arlington?
Yeah, I think it's almost like coming to the University of Washington Capitals. I think it's just we treat it as a real educational experience for them. They come from different backgrounds, whether it's different countries or some are college, some are junior, some are playing with the men in Europe. So it's to learn everything about whether it's the yoga, nutrition, strength training, and everything, of course, that goes on the ice. But we're looking at them to give us their best effort, and to try to be a sponge and soak up everything that we're going to offer to them.
Ilya Protas. Talk to me about him. I mean, Alexei is. We saw how quickly he improved and became an NHL 30-goal scorer. Where is Ilya in his trajectory right now?
Boy, it's very similar. When I look at it, his draft here. I think we end up getting his brother in the 3rd round, and we get the younger brother in the 3rd round, and both 6'4", 6'4.5". Both had really good hands. Both had really good sense, and I think once they quit growing, they took off and started to play even, better. And couldn't have asked for a better year last year in Windsor. Played on a good team, but he was a driver of the bus a lot of games that I went to see.
this is the one time, too, because at main camp, you're not going to be able to have the college guys here. So for Cole Hutson to be able to be a part of what goes on here. His season, obviously, off the charts as a freshman at Boston University. How excited are you to have him in the fold here after what he was able to do with the Terriers this year?
Yeah, boy, it was exciting. I mean, we knew we were getting a good player, but when you look at the World Junior Tournament and how he performed there, and a gold medal winning team, and might have been second in the tournament scoring as a defenseman. I don't know if that's ever happened, and a really good year at Boston University, as you said. So to have him here, it's great. And it's his second camp. He can start to provide some leadership too for the younger guys that we just drafted.
How does Cole compare to his brother Lane, who, as we know, was Rookie of the Year in the NHL last year?
Yeah, it's. I think there's a lot of similarities in the sense that they skate really well. The hockey sense, the skill, and I think we like our guy. He's playing his own end, and he's a competitive guy. So, we're happy that we have him.
In the salary cap era, there's nothing more important than player development, and it's funny that it would happen on this day where free agency in the pool is a little thin, at least at goal and forward, a couple of big names, and then it drops off pretty quickly. But it seems to underscore for me the reason that you have to develop in the modern age, because if you don't, you're not going to be competitive. And it seems to me you probably know that as well as anybody, and doing what you do day in and day out.
Yeah, it's not just at the NHL free agents, but also, college free agents. So if you're not drafting well and you're not developing well, then you're competition with 14 or 15 other teams trying to sign these players. So it's important for us to draft well, but it's probably even more important for our development team to get these young guys to a level where they can come in and step in and contribute with the Capitals.
Well, Ross, congratulations on 28 years at the draft table and running things here for the Capitals, and can't wait to see how everybody develops. I'm sure you are just as anxious for that. But thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks very much.
All right, Ross Mahoney joining us here. Taking a look back to last year's draft, this guy with a pretty good little essay and a little bit of a look back on the draft picks from a year ago.
A year ago, the Capitals had a decision to make. Be conservative, take the low-risk approach, and settle for incremental improvement, or get aggressive and head down a road fraught with more risk, but potentially a much bigger reward.
We added some players that are good, skilled offensive players, which just kind of gives you better offensive depth and allows you to try to capitalize on matchups.
Brian McClellan and Chris Patrick chose the riskier route, then proceeded to put on a masterclass in rebuilding an NHL roster on the fly. In a span of 13 days last summer, McClellan and Patrick, not satisfied with merely making the playoffs, swapped out roughly a third of Washington's 23-man roster.
Couldn't be happier to come back and be a Capital.
Everybody raves about playing here, living here.
It feels pretty new to me, and I'm excited for that.
The mix of talent that this group has is really fun and exciting to be a part of.
Dubois, Thompson, Chychrun, Mangiapane, all acquired via trade. Then, on the first day of free agency, there was yet another flurry of moves. Duhaime, Roy, Radish. The result? A 50th anniversary season no fan will soon forget.
Chychrun's first as a Capital! Oh, baby!
A differential that improved by more than 90 goals. From the last team to qualify for the playoffs in 24 to the first in 25. Conference and division titles.
The chasing days are done!
And oh yeah, it will be past Gretzky. Big picture, not all of last summer's additions will be sticking around for the long haul, but as they say in pro sports, the only constant is change. But several cornerstones are now in place.
Thompson's brilliance on display against Lundestrom.
Thompson is the number 1 goalie. Dubois is the number 2 center. Chychrun and Roy, they're your number 2 and 3 Ds.
We're transitioning from a mature, older team into a younger team, and it continues to be that goal going forward for us.
A year ago, right about now, the Caps' future felt tenuous, uncertain even.
We need to be ready to play against, every team in the league.
But thanks to a gutsy makeover that's probably got owners around the league side-eyeing their own leadership, the Caps' future looks as bright as anyone's.
Well, once again, a big day here. Free agency officially begins, and you take a look now at some notable free agents for the Capitals. Andrew Mangiapane, Lars Eller, Taylor Radish, and Anthony Beauvillier, all unrestricted free agents. And Alex Alexiev was not given a qualifying offer, making him an unrestricted free agent as well. So as the days start to work out here, what are some things, there's a lot going on, but what are some things maybe you guys are looking for these guys with the Capitals and other ones incoming this organization?
Well, the Caps need a third line. So they've got
3C would be good.
A 3C would be good. They've got some work to do. But look, the salary cap went up $7.5 million. If you look at the contracts that have been handed out here in the last 48 hours or so, a lot of guys are really cashing in. I think the smart teams, like the Capitals, are kind of sitting back and kind of evaluating the situation, and they're going to wait for guys to kind of come back to them a little bit. And I think we're going to see that. There haven't been any really massive deals or signings. I guess the Mitch Marner one yesterday was big, but it feels like everyone's kind of tiptoeing on through these first few minutes of free agency. The Capitals as well. I think they got to get a 3C. Connor McMichael, and this is part of another discussion, might be the guy if they aren't able to find that 3C. But in general, I feel like they've got to add probably 2 players in that middle 6 to make this a complete team going forward.
See, I would look back at Breakdown Day, and Connor McMichael was fairly expressive, I thought, in saying 3C was something that was very interesting to him. Now, how does that happen? You say, okay, you can say what a centerman's available or a winger. The 2 guys that I'm looking at on the board are wingers at the top that you would be interested in. That would be Nikolai Ehlers, who is going to get a lot of attention, and Elliot Friedman reporting here just in the last few minutes that decision may not come today. And when you've got the entire world knocking on your door and saying, why rush? Why rush? What's the reason to rush? So there's that in play. Brock Besser, pride of Burnsville, Minnesota. Very good offensive player. It hasn't been a great situation in Vancouver. A fresh start for a very nice offensive winger.
How many more Minnesotans can we have, by the way?
You can never have enough Minnesotans. That's always been my operating. That's my North Star, if you will.
Our favorite one, right here in the middle.
Yeah. So there's that. But one of the things that you're going to see as we take a look at some of what's available, there's a fair amount here that probably doesn't interest Washington, and that's not to say, hey, listen, I got all the respect to what Corey Perry did in the final, but you're not trying to get older here.
Right.
Nate Schmidt, we love him, but, on D, things are pretty good. Dmitry Orlov, there's going to be interest for these guys, and Gavrikov is the one that's interesting to me, after going to L.A., and now where does he end up? But, I mean, really, the number 1 and the number 3 names on that list are what you're looking at.
Ehlers and Besser.
And the opportunities that you find are, like, look at what happened between Edmonton and Boston just a little while ago. Victor Arvidsson ends up going, for essentially a steak dinner.
Right.
Because they're trying to unload money to just sign Bouchard and have the room for that. And, that guy named McDavid is going to have to get paid at some point. So Edmonton is offloading anything and everything that they can. Maybe with another team, you're looking for opportunities. And I think that's what you're looking at right now if you're in the war room here in hockey operations. What are some of those opportunities? Not just the free agent guys, but what can you accumulate somewhere else via other means? Right,
and also if you look at that kind of next tier after Besser and Ehlers, you get down to like Michael Granlund and Pius Suter, and those are guys who are going to get overpaid. I mean, those are guys who, at the end of the day, we're going to go, that guy got six years, $5 million? Like,
Pius Suter is crazy to me. That's the craziest one of all, and it tells you how thin all of this is. Pius Suter was with Dylan Strome in Chicago.
Right.
And Suter had a very nice year. This is probably going back 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Useful, 16 goals, and Chicago, much in the way of Dylan Strome, is like, no, we're good here. And he ends up doing fine with Vancouver. Nothing that's eye-popping, but a guy who can put the puck in the net even a little bit in this free agency crowd is going to get paid and overpaid. And I think the Caps may be wise not to maybe dip into that a little bit.
One of the guys we were just talking about, seems like there's some reports that Brock Besser is, in fact, re-signing with Vancouver.
Okay.
Well, okay then. So that takes a big ticket off the board if that's the case, because I thought Besser, given the instability of what's gone on in Vancouver, whether Bruce Boudreau was coaching or Rick Tocchet was coaching, the stuff between Pettersson and Miller ends up leaving. Vancouver's been a mess. I thought he was going to jump out the side door there, and I'm a little surprised to see that, quite frankly.
And I feel like probably Ehlers is now going, let's definitely wait because now
there's no
reason to hurry. Now teams are going to get even more desperate because a player they thought was going to, shop his skills to the market is no longer available. So Ehlers is really going to cash in now and probably, I don't want to say get overpaid, but someone 3-4 years down the road is going to go, I don't know.
A lot of term. And see, that's the other thing, too, where would the Capitals be interested in Nikolai Ehlers? I would think yes.
Sure.
But
he's 29 years old.
He's 29. Yeah. And what you have to do, to me, it is less about the money.
Right.
More about the number of years. If you have to go 7, and this is the last year of 7, by the way, so they're going to be teams knowing that the new CBA is going to max is going to be 6 in these situations
for a UFA. Yep.
Will you go 7 for a guy that by the time it's over would be 36? So here's some of the things that have happened, and I would not say so. Brock Besser, you can go home again, as it turns out. So he's going to stay in Vancouver. It sounds like Mitch Marner. That got done officially this morning, as Nick Hay going the other way in that deal. Christian Dvorak, that's a 1-year deal to go to Philadelphia.
Betting on himself.
More than $5 million, but only 1 year. So if you're the Flyers, why would you not, given the fact that they need that center? And you want to be able to try and see if you can't solidify that position. of Flyers a little weak down the middle. That certainly will help. And then Jonathan Tafe, no surprise, he ends up back in Winnipeg. I was talking about a week ago, maybe longer, but a Winnipeg native, so not real surprising.
Yeah, and Patrick Kane also re-signed with the Red Wings, I think 1 year, $3 million. So yeah, there's been some movement. We just talked about where the holes are on this Capitals roster, and it really does depend on what they're able to find in free agency and whether Connor McMichael has to slide down or is put in that 3C spot. I'm just kind of looking at my lines the way I have drawn them up. I'm not so sure Coach Carberry would totally agree with everything here, but
I thought he ran everything by you.
I mean, Protas can play left and right, but like right now, if you look at the way this lineup is shaping up, let's say Protas is on the right. First line right wing, Wilson, Leonard, and then Justin Sordiff, who just was traded over here. I mean, that's 1 through 4. That's pretty good. But you got a hole over here on the third line. So then someone's got to flip over there, which is going to open up a hole. So there is a need for a scoring winger, middle 6 winger. And I think they're going to have to go out into free agency. But the tight wire act that the Capitals have to pull off here is they've also got to save some space for Ivan Miroshnichenko, right? What about if Andrew Cristall has another outstanding training camp and forces his way onto the roster? So they want to fill that spot, but you don't want to overcommit because you have some young guys who are knocking on the door, and you're eventually going to have to make room for them.
Shifting away from the Capitals for just a moment, but free agency as a whole, because it's something especially this year. I feel like we're seeing a lot more maybe debate on Twitter. Obviously, Bill Zito down in Florida, the magic he has created there. Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett, and Aaron Ekblad all signing contract extensions with Florida. Marner to Vegas. This whole state income tax thing with the cap, the salaries, everything about that. What are your thoughts, and do those teams have that advantage?
I think it's overblown, honestly. I think the reason that Florida is successful is not because of a lack of state income tax. I think it's because Bill Zito knows what the heck he's doing.
Right.
And I think they built a culture very quickly and very impressively in Florida of being able to say, look, guys want to be here. They opened up the new facility on the beach.
That's another thing no one talks about. Okay,
Listen, that has nothing to do with income tax. Right. That place is amazing. Those guys take golf carts to practice. They want to stay there. It's a brilliant place, and the guys want to win.
Yes.
And I would look at Winnipeg and say, look what they did this year. It's Canadian taxes.
Sure.
It is not exactly South Beach,
right?
With climate-wise,
right?
But that's a good team,
right?
And guys want to play for a good team. Guys want to win, and Winnipeg had a chance to win. So to me, it's overblown.
So here's what I say: I agree with you to a certain extent. It is overblown in the media. The people who are pounding the desk saying Florida has this massive advantage. But I will also say this, having talked to players over the years, they are keenly aware of the impact that state
Sure.
income tax
Yes.
will have on their paycheck. And that is something they discuss with their agent. And when their agent says, here are the teams that are calling me today, they'll go, okay, who has the worst taxes, right?
Indeed.
I mean, that is
it a
absolutely
factor? Yes,
what
but
they're thinking about.
I said it for years when we went to Arizona. Why don't they win more? I mean,
Yeah.
you had that advantage in Arizona too, but you couldn't keep the
Sure.
team because you didn't have the culture, you didn't have the development, and now in Utah things seem to be picking up. So it's a factor, probably not the factor.
It is, and we could keep this debate going, but we are out of time today. But like we said, still lots of coverage coming your way this week as free agency continues, development camp, and a whole lot more. So for John and Tarik, I am Katie Florio saying so long on this Rink Report episode, represented by PenFed. Great rates for everyone.